Hi, my name is Abby Showemimo.
My name is Bola Tinubu.
My name is Louis Ekome.
My name is Idris Oloronimbe.
I represent Lagos City Cycling Grand Prix.
I'm a life coach. I call myself a transformational confidence coach.
I'm the group chief executive of Temple Management Company.
I'm Deji, Tinubu's sister-in-law.
And I love sports in general.
Keep watching, keep your eyes tuned on this channel.
Keep watching Elegbete TV and radio.
We haven't got to that stage where I would say we have a top niche sports culture. I think what I see in Nigeria now is just football, football, football. All the other aspects of sports which we grew up with, our sports day, general basketball competitions, volleyball, netball. I don't see a lot of it as we see much of football. And as I was saying before, when we grew up, we were talking about Muda Balogun, Thunder Balogun. Our local football is not being promoted at the expense of the international ones. I can't answer the question, but I think the government should do more to promote local content football.
Well, we can do better. We have a passion for sports, but we have not properly structured sports. So the structures need to get better.
I think it's a very interesting one. You have a few young people who make it to the top, but what you don't see is the development of sports at the grassroots, at the schools. And that's one of the things that Deji stood for. We have to go back to the schools to look for these children who have the raw talent and develop them so that sports is really that engine of social engagement.
All right. The sports culture is it's still budding. People are getting used to let me say the sports we have. Before now, we have people are more interested in football, but I think that as time has gone on, we have people, being more interested in other sports. So we have, of course, athletics has always been there, but we have other sports coming up now. We have even also the board games, we have cycling coming up, and other things. So I think that we have experienced some lots of changes, and indeed a lot of them have actually been quite positive.
We're very fanatical. I would say that we're very fanatical, especially when it comes to football and maybe basketball and a few other sports. We're very passionate about sports in Nigeria, and so they're loyal. We're loyal to our game. We're loyal to the sport that we love, and yeah, that's what I've got to say about that.
There's definitely a lot that is left for the government to do. As I said earlier, we need to ensure that all the schools have facilities, even the public schools as well as the small private schools that are made up of 2 or 3 rooms in a flat or apartment. We need to make sure that they all have access to sporting facilities and sport educators so that the entire state and the entire nation can start to look at sport as a more positive and uplifting role.
I don't think so. I think the government should do more to promote local football, so we're not just all chasing after the Chelseas and the Liverpools. Let's talk about Enyimba. Let's talk about Shooting Stars. Let's talk about the football boys we used to know of those days.
Well, the government cannot do everything. Maybe the government can put better structures in place. Maybe they can put better infrastructure in place, but the government cannot do everything because there are so many things angling for government. So we have to structure it in such a way that we engage the organized private sector better to try and get their support by showing value. And when we show value, they will support us. The government can only do so much, especially as the grassroots. Maybe government should try in the area of improving infrastructural facilities for sports. But beyond that, those of us in the business of sports have to take it upon ourselves to make the industry work.
So far, the government has done a bit, but like people will say, there's always room for improvement. So the government can actually put facilities in place that will make it easier for youths, to be involved in sporting activities. So if, let's say, for example, you have someone who is interested in football, the question is where can they go, maybe to be taught, where can they be groomed properly? For people who are maybe interested in athletics, where can they go to, So, but I think thankfully, Lagos State government has actually taken the lead, and they've done a couple of things with the various sporting centers that they have built across the states and various sporting events that the Lagos State Sports Commission, has put together. So, but of course, there's always room for improvement.
I think we need to improve on it. I think people need to learn to pay for consumption. People need to learn to pay more for merchandising. People need to understand that it's the money that they put into the sport that works as wages for the sportsmen and the other people within the ecosystem. And it's also what forms the fund for further developing the sport.
In terms of bias between genders, without a doubt, Nigeria is a patriarchal society in the sense that the women are looked down as lesser beings. They are treated as such. All decisions are made on their behalf, and I'm sure that extends to sport as well. So what we need to see is a more level playing field where women and girls are treated as boys and men.
I don't think there's a place for gender bias in anything at all.
Well, I haven't, so I can't speak much on that, but I haven't, and I haven't heard of any, to my knowledge.
We hear about people, being biased about certain genders, when it comes to sport, but for now, I've not really heard about anything about that in Nigeria. I've not experienced, any kind of bias against any kind of gender, in sports in Nigeria.
I think so. I think they give the men and the women equal opportunities because we have a governor who is, willing to give the women a chance as well, and so that's why he's put quite a few of them in his cabinet.
So with respect to boxing and violence, so because it's a physical activity that appears violent to some people, the thought is that that kind of event can promote violence, but I really don't think so. For people, who are interested, in boxing, it's actually an avenue for them to learn how to control their emotions, their outbursts, and then to channel it out, in that manner. So, no, I don't think that boxing as a sport, promotes violence.
I mean, it's a talent, it's a talent, and as long as, the participants have the understanding that it's just a sport, okay? It's just a sport, and it doesn't give them the license to go around, fighting or whatever. It's just a sport. It's just a form of entertainment. It's also a way to showcase their own talent. So it's not, I don't think it's an opportunity or an avenue for people to go around getting involved in fights. It just shows that they're not disciplined. But if you're a disciplined boxer, it's a no-no.
If you're an energetic person, you can channel all that energy into boxing. I see young, children now, or young youth of today, taking boxing as a sport, not because they want to go onto the boxing ring, but they believe that all the energy they have, they can channel it into it, and for fitness also. So I don't think boxing will promote violence, it will promote anything negative. Once it's done positively, you get the best results.
Well, I think that any sport, if not taught in a manner that is set out within clear parameters, within proper structure, may be used in a way that does promote violence. And so what we want is for that structure to be introduced across the board in Lagos and in Nigeria.
Not necessarily. There are rules in boxing, and one of the things it fosters is discipline. For instance, if you're boxing as a kid, you wear a headgear to protect your head. And there are rules. You are not allowed to punch certain areas and all of that. So it teaches discipline. So I don't think that it promotes violence.